Last week we put together a crazy looking milk crate system for playing Resident Evil 3, and the build itself went great. However, the footage that I captured showing off the gameplay, that was kind of a different story. It suffered from pretty bad tearing, and also for some reason I was unable to grab the in-game audio despite many efforts to rectify that situation. Also, I couldn't capture in 4K. Basically, it all comes down to the capture system that I was using, a hastily designed and thrown together APU system inside the NZXT H1. Despite my best intentions, this capture box has flaws, mostly due to the lack of foresight on my part. So today, we're going to rectify that situation and build ourselves a proper PC designed specifically for capturing and streaming your gameplay footage. Need a Windows or Office key but don't want to pay retail? MMORC.com has all the best deals and a sweet discount for BPS Customs viewers. Just head over to the site linked below and enter code BAN35 for 35% off your order total, meaning you could snag Windows 10 Home for under $10. Fill out your email and place your order, and then click the extract code button at the top of the page. From there, it's as easy as heading to your Windows activation settings and inputting your shiny new key. For more information, head to MMORC.com or check out the links below. With the current social situation, it seems like everybody with anything interesting to say or has ever had any interest in starting a YouTube channel or streaming on Twitch has had the opportunity to at least give it a shot. And if you're one of those people, you might need to know exactly how to get started. Let's talk about what makes a good capture and streaming PC and where I made mistakes when I threw together this system. The first thing that you'll need is a decent CPU. Now, in the past, the CPU used to handle a great deal of the computational load when it came to encoding. And while that's still true to some degree, with the recent improvements to NVIDIA NVENC, you can lean more heavily on the GPU. That was my first mistake with the H1 system. I wanted to use this case and the Mini ITX form factor, but I didn't consider the impact to higher resolution stream capture. While the APU used in here was fine for grabbing 1080p footage, if I wanted to output 4K files, the results looked like this. The single PCIe slot was occupied by the Elgato 4K60 capture card, meaning that I couldn't also use the GPU here. The APU couldn't shoulder that kind of task, so if you're looking to stream or capture at 1440p or 4K, your best bet is to factor the cost of a GPU into your build. So we'll be moving up from a small form factor system to an ATX mid-tower and full-size gear for this video, but just be aware that you could reasonably also get the same kind of setup into a micro ATX case if you want to save as much space as possible. What we're going to build today is based on the parts that I have here in the office and then now out on this table, which admittedly will be a little overkill. In fact, this streaming setup will be almost $1,500 all told. But I'm also going to provide you with a more reasonable list of parts to choose from and a full system build, including a $250 4K capture card for under $1,000. Our build is going to start out with the Ryzen 5 2600. 6 cores and 12 threads will be plenty for our needs because we won't be gaming on this system at all. It will just be capturing footage. It'll be right at home in the Asus ROG Strix X470F Gaming. Again, an overkill part with great aesthetics, but if you're playing along at home, I'll have a better option for you in a minute. For our CPU cooler, we could easily use the AMD stock cooler, and for most people, I would recommend going in that route. But I'll be stepping it up to the Chromax version of Noctua's excellent NH-U12S, which will run super cool and quiet. Memory in this build will be a 2x8GB kit of Thermaltake's ToughRAM DDR4 3600. I would definitely say that you want 16 gigs in a system like this, but the fancy pants RGB on this specific kit is not a requirement. Our GPU will be an Asus ROG Strix RTX 2060, which will provide us that fantastic NVIDIA NVENC encoder. Everything from GTX 1660 and up will give us that same capability, however, so definitely be more frugal with your choices if that's all the system is doing. I'll be reusing the SSD from the H1 system, which is the WDSN750, but there are other NVMe SSDs that are less expensive and offer moderately fast performance in the same M.2 form factor. You'll need something along the lines of a 550 watt power supply, and targeting 80 plus gold isn't a bad idea here, although bronze should probably also be fine. The FSP Hydro GE650 unit is fully modular and gold rated. The case we'll be building in is the Phanteks Eclipse P400A, which will give us airflow and plenty of space for all of our parts. Now, this collection of parts here on the table will run you a little north of $1,200, and that's without the Elgato 4K60 capture card that you'll need to make everything tick. But let's quickly run down a list that will come in about $500 less and should get you similar results. Swap out our Ryzen 5 2600 for the new $85 Ryzen 5 1600 AF and keep the stock AMD cooler in place. Pair it with the MSI B450 Tomahawk and an EVGA GTX 1660, and you've already saved boatloads. You can keep 1TB of NVMe storage and 16 gigs of DDR4 3600, and also build in a Phanteks case as well. And the total here is about $720. You can find both parts lists down below if you're interested in doing something similar or comparing the two. So let's see if our new capture system can do any better than our old one when grabbing some super sharp 4K footage of Resident Evil 3. So guys, this is the end result of today's project. This is my brand new capture system that I'm going to be using on the channel from here on out at this set. So we're gonna be capturing footage directly off of all the systems that I'll be building weekly here on the channel. So that way there's no more pointing a camera at a monitor and recording footage that way. This way we can get actual gameplay footage recorded with the overlays and all that, and you can see how the games are actually running on those systems. What I did in order to test this build is I used the same system that we built last week. This is the Resident Evil 3 PC. You can see that I didn't take it apart. It's still in the same condition that it was, because I wanted to stream out to this box this time and see how the 4K capture capabilities are. And as you guys can see, the results are so much better. I was extremely pleased with the way this was capturing 4K 60 footage. There was no stuttering or hitching or anything like that, and I was able to record it super high quality, and everything looks great. As far as the PC build itself, I've built in this case before, not very much to say. It's excellent. The build process was smooth. I had no issues at all. It comes with 3 RGB fans in here already, so airflow front to back is already really good. Plus we're using components in here that are going to run cool and quiet. The Strix cooler on the GPU has been proven for a number of years now, and Noctua is Noctua. So there's really no complaints about anything that I put in here so far. I haven't had any issues. It's set up super easy and super quick. And as you guys can probably tell, I went with an orange theme. Again, this isn't something that you necessarily need to do if you are building your own capture box, but you know, here on the channel, we like to spice it up every now and then. And I haven't built an orange system in a while, so we went with the orange fans. These are orange cable mod cables with silver cable combs. So I think everything in here looks great, even though it's gonna end up being under the desk most of the time and nobody's really gonna see it. But hey, you know, I like it. So that's really all that matters. But I was really happy with the way this capture system came together. But as I talked about in the intro, please, if you guys are trying to build something like this, you don't need to spend this much money in order to get similar results. Go with the list of parts that I gave you guys in the beginning. Check the link down below in the video description. This will give you an idea of what you will probably need to build a system that will perform similarly to this in capture and or streaming applications. And just be frugal about it, because you don't need to have a system that looks like this or, you know, costs $1,500 if you just want to get on Twitch or YouTube and broadcast some gameplay, which is honestly what a lot of people just want to do. And you're going to spend the bulk of your funds on your main system. Yes, today in 2020, there are definitely CPUs and system builds that are capable of both gaming and streaming simultaneously, and that way you wouldn't necessarily need a separate capture box. However, there are a lot of people out there that already have a setup that don't necessarily have the horsepower to be able to do both at the same time, and they want to have something dedicated just for capture or streaming. This is a really good solution for that, because if you think about it, what you really would want if you are building a single system to both game and stream is pretty high end. So you're talking like an Intel 9900K, maybe an AMD 3900X, 3950X, or something up into the Threadripper series. And once you get up that high in HEDT, you're talking platform costs that are, you know, well in excess of anything you might spend on something like this. So it is a consideration. If you already have a high-end platform, you can likely do both from the same system and not have to have a separate box at your desk. However, not everybody has that luxury, so I would definitely recommend looking into a separate streaming or capture box if that is your goal. If you just want to get on Twitch or get on YouTube or get on Mixer or whatever other platform there might be, having a system that is dedicated to just capturing your footage is going to get you better results most of the time. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the build. This capture box actually came out great, and I'm gonna be using it basically every week moving forward. Let me know down below in the comments if you have one system that does both, or if you are using a separate capture system, or if this video just helped you out in any way, make that decision. Also, don't forget to hit up the merchandise store at bpscustoms.com for hoodies and t-shirts and stuff like that. Get subscribed to the channel if you're not already, and thank you so much for watching as always.